welcome back to the Brainy Tutor. My name is Patience, and in this video we are going to be determining whether graph is a function. And we're going to be using the vertical line test. A vertical line test states that if any vertical line is drawn through the graph at more than one point, then that relation is not a function. We have several steps on determining whether graph is a function. We are also going to find the domain. The domain will consist of all the possible x values for which the relation is going to be defined. We're going to look for the leftmost and the rightmost points on the graph. We also have a range. The range consists of all the possible y values the relation can take. And we are going to be looking at the highest points on the graph. Vocabulary you need to know is domain and range. That's besides knowing what a vertical line test is, as I just described. Let's go ahead and do examples that will make sense to you as to what I'm saying. Okay, our first example is a parabola. Y is equal to x squared. So when we set up our table, in order to draw this graph, let's suppose that our x is 0. If you plug it in, y is equal to 0 squared, so our y will be 0. If we make our x -1, then -1 squared will be 1. If we make our x 2, then 2 squared will be 4. And if we go ahead and try to graph this, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. Our first point is a 0, 0. Then we have -1, 1. Then we have 2, 4. Create a -2 here. We'll still have -2 squared is 4. So -2, 4 goes right here. This is our parabola. If we draw vertical lines anywhere on this graph, if it crosses at more than one point, then it's not a function. Our vertical lines do not cross the graph at more than one point, so this is going to be a function. So no vertical lines intersect the graph more than once. So this is a function. And then our domain for this graph is going to be all real numbers. And we can write it as -infinity to +infinity. So the domain is all the numbers on the x values. If we were to extend this graph on the negative side, you can see it goes to infinity. And on this x-axis, if we're to extend this graph, it goes to infinity. So the domain is -infinity to +infinity. Since the graph begins here at 0, you can see our range begins at 0 and it goes all the way up. So our range is going to be 0 to infinity. Let's do another example. So supposing we have our function y is equal to 2x plus 1. First, we'll make a little chart to get the points that we need to graph. So we're going to try 0. If x is 0, then 0 times 2 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. If we make our x -1, we have -1 times 2 is -2, and -2 plus 1 will give us -1. If our x is 1, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. Now let's draw our function. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. So our first point is going to be a 0, 1. Right there, 0, 1. Next point is -1, -1. So it's going to be somewhere around here. And the next point is 1, 3, which will be here. Then we're going to graph So this is our line, y is equal to x plus 1. If we were to continuously graph this on the x-axis, as you can see, it continues forever both ways. So our domain is going to be negative infinity to infinity, and then our range, the same way on the y-axis, our range is also negative infinity to positive infinity. For your homework, I need you to try these problems. X squared plus y squared is equal to 1, and y is equal to square root of 3x minus 2. And also, once you graph these two functions, find the domain and the range. Thank you so much for watching the Brainy Tutor, and thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you supporting my channel, and we'll be talking soon. Have a good day.